Recently, I've seen like these TikToks. His name is like Big Justice and AJ, right, on Costco, right, on TikTok, where they have these cookies that go, double chunk chocolate cookie.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, right? So
Yeah.
actually, hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. We bring the boom! Yeah, so welcome back, guys. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. So, first topic that I think should be discussed is RI3D bots and what the teams have been able to build within the 3 days, right? 72 hours, right? So, which ones you guys seen? Which ones you guys think it's awesome?
There are a couple good ones. I think what's the most notable one? Is that Penn State probably?
Penn
With the
State,
deep climb?
yeah,
Yeah,
deep
yeah.
climb. That's a unique one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, that might just be the easiest way. I mean, shoot, a kitbot could probably deep climb, right?
It depending on how you design it, right? Now, I will say with the Penn State's design of their deep climb, it's a big chunk of their bot that is taking up space, right?
Yeah.
You could see that they have a hole within their frame, and then they section off. It looks like about like almost 70% of their space just for the deep climb, right?
Well, are they max size?
I think like one of the kitbot sizes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kit
So
box
whether
is,
that's narrow or square or what.
But one thing that's kind of surprised me is how big the cage actually is. Like it's really
Yeah.
small.
It's
I don't know. I think if teams just kind of plan around it at the beginning, I think that they could totally find a place to put a hole in the
absolutely.
robot.
Absolutely. It's a big mechanism, right? And if teams want to utilize that design, then it's quite the sacrifice that you'll be willing to make in order to get that successful deep climb, right? Now, I do think that their design for it is really cool, right? It has a couple of aluminum bars, right? That's in that hook shape or whatnot, right? They have the hole in their bot, and it's driven, right? I believe it's driven via like a gearbox, chain, and sprocket, right? That goes below their frame perimeter and from the bottom of the deep cage, and they lift up, and they just lift up, and it works, right? The only thing that, right, obviously, right, past 3 days, right, we can see this criticism, see things that can be improved on in iterations, which, by the way, for RI3D designs, that's what they're meant to be. They're meant to be like a foundation for teams to start on robot designs and then improve on them, so that way they can get better for a competition season, right? So in terms of that aspect, I do think that the climb, right, can be packaged smaller. It can be packaged more efficiently, and also the speed, right? The speed of that climb can be definitely improved.
Do you think that's gonna be the meta? The hole in the robot this year? Is that everyone's just gonna have hole in the robot?
I think somebody else is gonna do it.
What do you think is the next
Some other crazy
easiest
way.
way to do it?
The Quokka
Yeah.
The Quokka Lobot.
The Lobot is probably one of the easiest.
Yeah.
Right.
So they actually made two robots. Their first low resource bot is an arm, and it's got two rollers on the end, so they can pick up coral on the ground, and they can like swing it behind them, and then take off the algae. Yeah. So then, what they do to climb deep is they lift up the arm, and there's hooks on the back side of it, and then they drive backwards into the deep cage, and it hooks onto it, and then they pull themselves up, and kind of like they're at a weird angle, I think, but they're up.
Yeah.
Kind of like 2010, that one robot just kind of grabs onto the
Yeah.
phone, like.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and I think the nice part about that one is, aside from it being simple, is it clearly shows the refs that they're up off the ground compared to some of the other deep cages. Right.
Which, if for those that don't know, believe in the game manual, one of the rules is you can't touch the top portion, top plate of the cage and the chain itself. Which I believe, what's that? What are they calling it?
Anchor.
Anchor. Yeah, the anchor is no contact or designing, so it's can't really design a climb to take that account, the anchor, right? But I think the design I believe what is it driven by? Like a bag motor? Is that how the Lobot for Quokka's grab onto the bar is with a bag motor or like a servo? I don't think a servo. I think, but like a bag motor.
Could be.
Right. Look, it's very simple, right? It's integrated within their lift, right? Their arm, right? And I think that is probably one of the easiest foundations to start a deep climb design.
Every motor on your robot should be a Kraken. Moving on, anyway.
They are good. I like Krakens.
I think the high robot, sorry, I keep saying low and high. The high resource robot, the second robot that they built is really, really cool too. So that one's on an elevator. And then they have, I think it's a sideways elevator actually. And then they have a big double pivoting arm thing. And on one end, it's got the algae grabber. And then the other end, it's the coral launcher. And this thing is sick. This thing's spinning up, down, left, right.
Yeah.
So it takes out the algae, flips around, scores the coral. It's pretty sick. So it's just very impressive to see an RI3D team build 2 robots.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Two robots that I think are both achieve the goals, right? The low resource bot I think is one of the best kit bots, RI3D low resource bots that I've seen. I really, really enjoy that design. And then the high resource robot is just so effective.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really impressive what they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Excited to see what teams come up with. Although I am a little disappointed in the monotony of this year's game, where it's kind of like charged up, where it's just going to be 3 robots the whole match, mostly doing the same thing. Whereas last year it was like interesting because you could have positions on your alliance. You had the passer, the cleaner, and the cycler, and made for some really interesting gameplay. But what do you think? What do you think we'll be seeing in terms of like penalties? There's not a lot of contact in this game, so I'm thinking we're not going to see much, which is good.
Well, let's theorize this, right? Let's predict week 1, week 2, right? The early weeks, right? Everyone's just basically getting their feet wet.
Yeah.
Basically, for those teams that sign up for those weeks, I think we might see just a handful of defense that will occur, and that defense is gonna play a factor in a sense that some of the teams that do decide to play defense, they're gonna try, but it's just figuring out those zones, right? The zones of, right, the reef zone, right? You're gonna be careful around that.
Yeah.
But also, if the meta is going all deep cages, right, just to block off that zone, right, then defense is gonna be a very strategic planning if a team wants to do that, right? And if they do play defense with one side of all the deep cages in, then the most we're gonna see is contact.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to for those teams.
we'll probably see a couple of the contacting your opponent's cage throughout the season. Probably just from defenders who maybe really haven't played that much defense.
Right, which that's the strategy alone too, is if you do have your alliance go all deep cage, right?
Yeah.
I think the outermost cage closest to the guardrail should be deep because that's the closest one next to the processor, right? So if we're scoring in our processor, that cage will be low, and a defender would just have to push us in towards that cage.
Yeah, that's
right.
good.
So I think that one should be deep, if anything.
Okay.
What do you think about so the source zones? What are they called this year?
Loading
Coral
stations?
station.
Coral stations. Yeah,
We're gonna go with that.
the coral.
It's every year it's loading station.
Loading
Right?
station. They're not protected zones.
Right.
Like previous years. So
Yeah.
obviously you can only have one defender, but that one defender could pretty much shut down one of those coral stations.
I'll do you one better. So me and a couple of good friends, Friday night, we were at dinner and we're brainstorming a couple of ideas that we would do for RI3D.
Okay.
And we came up with a really unique design, I think. So we would build a maximum length robot. It would be like 7 inches wide and like 114 something inches long, right? Super duper long. and then you get another 1.5 feet on each side of extension, right? And that's about the width of 2 driver stations. So then you just got to lift up and you block 2 driver stations, right?
Oh my.
It's not against the rules. Is it gracious? No. Is it professional? No. Is it legal? Yeah.
Is it
My
effective?
Yeah.
So that's just one idea. No,
That's really
nobody.
good.
Nobody do that. Nobody, please don't do that idea.
I'll do it.
Do it in an off season, maybe, but
Ooh.
It's clearly a joke. I think
yeah,
it's
it's
clearly a
not.
joke.
clearly a
I'm
joke.
not.
Clearly a joke.
We're joking.
I'm not joking.
Just kidding. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, there are ways to block and shut down major parts of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I think one robot could, like you're saying, there's HP zone is not protected. A robot could really mess that up. I think the co-op hole, the processor, the processor
Yeah, tell us
is
more
not
about this co-op hole.
is not a protected zone
Yeah.
either, right? A robot could sit there and just block off all the algae. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Now, is that blocking off a major component of gameplay?
I think so, right? Because they can't score the algae.
Probably. It's not like in 2017
Well, I guess-
where when the engineers would park themselves or one of their alliance members.
Oh yeah,
in
that,
front of the-
that was really smart.
Yeah.
because they had 2 other pegs.
Yeah,
They did,
yeah,
yeah.
the
gear
They would
pegs.
shut down to their opponent's pegs
Yeah.
and force them to go to the furthest
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That was really smart on them. But this one, because there's only one processor to score on,
I think that would be.
right? I guess the only other thing you could do would be shoot the algae into the barge. But I don't know. I don't know why you would block off the processor. Thinking about it more, because then they can't get co-op points because you need to get two
Yeah,
algae
now
in
you're
there.
really hurting your own alliance
Right.
for not lowering down that
I
threshold.
mean, say it's like finals 3, and like one of their bots can only do processor.
Yeah, I'm sitting a robot there then.
Wow. That's crazy.
Now, what
Gotta
if
do what you gotta do to win. Am I right?
What if-
I'm joking? We're joking.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Cookies. Sorry.
So do you think it's worth shutting down one coral station?
Coral station.
I
No,
mean, I guess you're forcing them to go to the other.
right. You can
one,
take all
which
that
is
coral
a thing.
out and walk to the other one. So it's
Yeah.
like boohoo.
But also, you could just kind of dance around the coral station, and whenever the human player would launch out a piece of coral, you just like whip it away.
Yeah.
Maybe you drive it to your side or something. And just keep doing that.
It'd get really crazy. I think if a robot's playing pretty good defense at that coral loading station and you force all 3 robots max to the other one, it's going to get crowded pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
What do you think is better? Do you think it's better to have less of these protected zones, but only allow one defender, or multiple defenders, more protected zones?
I think that the idea of one defender and very little protected zones allows for more options for defense, right?
Yeah.
Because if a team can only play defense, or that's their strategy, right? Why limit them or why punish them for factors that's outside of their control? For example, the construction of the field itself, right? The game elements, and just everything within the confines of a game manual, right? I think the defense should just be an option, right?
Yeah.
And all the factors that go into speed of the bot, or damage of the field or whatnot, right? I think that's the job of first and the construction of the field to ensure that it's able to handle that defense. Now, that's not saying a team should go at Mach 5 and plow through the diamond plate.
I thought that's what you were saying.
Oh, well, BattleBots.
Oh, so you want to go on the record saying that's not what you were saying? No, I agree. I agree with you. I think because like last year,
I'm sorry, what?
most of the zone penalties probably were accidental, right?
Yeah, right. Not meant to be, right? Whereas, I'm sorry.
I mean, sometimes you just have some robot just plow into a team at their loading station.
Yeah,
But most of the time it's just they were wrong place, wrong time.
right.
So I'm kind of with you there.
Right, because it's their way of playing. That's how they want to dedicate that match, that time of playing. It's just that let them play. Essentially, let's not limit them too much to where defense is barely an option or very risky. Let's just give the teams the option to play safe and effective defense, right?
Yeah.
That's within gracious professionalism, and that's not egregious behavior, right? But anyways, so I think that oopsie spaghettios. But I think the game, the way it's gonna evolve and the meta is gonna be kind of like self-explanatory, right? Cycle, defense, climbs, possibly a chance of a defense. Right? It's nothing too much about it, other than like placement of the coral, right? Or the PVC pipe of go here, you do that one.
So supercharging.
Supercharging.
2 coral on the same peg.
Yeah.
If an alliance fills up the coral.
The reef.
Oh, oops. I don't know my elements. I don't know what they're called. Whatever the purple monster thing. Whatever. If you fill that up, as Big Justice and AJ goes.
No, not the table. No, not the table.
The table. Okay. I'll just do one. Boom! That's a big booming score. Boom! That's possibly what happens if I see a full reef. That's gonna be awesome.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
I want to bring it back to RI3D though. Which robot do you think, if they were to play the game right now, would be the best? Which one's scoring the most points? Which one's doing what they said they were gonna do?
Individually, like a team-based thing.
Individually.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like one time trial. Who's gonna score the most?
I think Rust Hounds. Yeah,
Well, they have a pretty powerful overtime auto.
Overtime? What do you mean overtime?
Yeah, that's a great question. What do you mean overtime?
Extra time for auto?
Huh?
Anyways,
Yeah, I think Rust Town.
I think
Rust Town.
I think they got a good robot too.
Yeah.
I think the auto alone would score a lot of points,
They're the
even if it
ones-
is overtime or
they're
whatever they're
ones with
talking about.
the wacky D-Plam, right?
Yeah, where they like kind
Oh my
of
God.
pull it over their arm. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, they like suplex the cage.
The first time I saw it, I didn't know what I was watching. It looks like the robot was in pain.
Yeah,
And I was like, "It's lifting."
they gotta be careful with that though, because they bring the chain really close to some of their other parts of the robot.
Right.
So if they touch that, that's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think what's really cool. Here's what's cool about their bot is that their end effector for their PVC pipe, it's not driven. It's just their box tubing with some polycarb, right, bolted on, right, like a little sandwich, and then 2 compliant wheels. It's not driven at all. It's just with their elevator. The elevator does the work, right? To where they have their arm, their end effector drop down with the elevator when the pipe goes down their chute and it's settled in their body, drops down, and the wheel with the compression that it has just grabs it, and then when they extend out to place it on whatever,
They just kind of drive away.
Larry pop down the elevator, drops it, and it scores.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think the meta is going to be this year? Is it going to be anything we saw in RI3D?
No, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, no. It's gonna be every year the meta changes throughout the season, right? Look at last year, right? Last year it was all about just cycling. It was all about just scoring. Midway through the competition, now we're seeing passing becoming, starting to become an actual thing, but nobody can do it that effective. And then later on, until states and worlds, holy crap, you need to have passer in order to get enough notes.
I think people were scared to do it at first because people are when you bring up a radical strategy change like that, people are scared.
Right.
Like they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
We can't risk the RP. We can't risk the RP. You know. But so I think if you pitch like passing week 1 or 2, people didn't go for it. I think we did talk about it during week 1, but of course, at that point, everyone's just trying to get their feet.
Well, I mean, again, the idea right now is just get a robot going.
Yeah.
To score. Right. That's the main goal for after build season.
I think there are some people who might be thinking about putting the coral in sideways in the loading station and letting it roll out and then roll across the floor to their robot.
We've played around with that a lot.
Yeah, did it work?
There could be a technique to it.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough to do it, but
nobody is.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, if you can't do it, it's not worth doing.
There was in 2015. There's this guy who could always get the totes to land right side up.
Really? How do you do it?
So what I think he did is he would use the door to kind of slow it down as it was exiting the chute.
Oh.
And then it would just always fall and land right side up.
Wow.
Because apparently that was a problem.
Yeah, it would land on its face. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember talking to a couple of drive teams during Recycle Rush, and this one human player was like, "Yeah, this is like the 3rd handle I've broken on the loading station." I'm like, okay.
Dog.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild. Because they're slamming the chute door, open and close so hard.
What are you doing?
I know.
Score.
Field damage.
Trying to get the fat boys out.
Yeah.
You know, it's it just break. Oh, handle broke.
Do you think they'll ever do no bumpers again?
I think after the reception of 2015.
I thought you were gonna say recession.
Recession.
Yeah. Man, that really changed some things.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would play a part.
Couldn't afford bumpers.
That would play a real part in less stuff for a game, right? But I think after 2015, again, I'm not on the design committee. I don't know.
You're not?
I know, right? I've so many.
You didn't get your letter?
My letter?
In the mail?
I got my letter, but it wasn't a
No, I'm kidding. I think because I don't know how to make a good game without bumpers, right? Because the one time, well, again, I don't know the old games, but I think
because
no,
we're young.
youngster. Well, I mean, I'm young. You too, haha. But
Yeah, you're like 1 year younger than us.
But it's just gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to make an entertaining strategic game without bumpers, and that's kind of the trend that we've seen.
Now this might be a hot take, but I liked Recycle Rush. I thought it was good.
I liked a lot of the robot designs that came out of that year.
Yeah.
I didn't like the game, but I'll agree with you. Right, there's some like 148. We talked about this at Kettering. Right?
Kettering kickoff. Yeah.
Robo Wranglers with the 2 robots, Symbotics. There's some really cool robots that came out of that year. I just didn't like the game.
Yeah, because it's. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like that. It's one of the few games to where there was no like one design that everyone went with. Everybody. God. Wow, that was scary. Oh my God. I'm sorry. First. I love Recycle Rush. I love it.
Was that a gold medal or a silver medal? That's gonna determine.
That's a.
Oh, it was an impact. It was an impact award.
Oh boy. Sorry, Ian. We're breaking the set, but
What I did like about Recycle Rush was that it was very visual.
Yeah.
And then what I'm hoping Reefscape is gonna be like, cause like you would see a tower of totes go up. Then you would look to the other side. It was like you were watching like a tennis match, right? You would look to one side to the other and back to the other, and then you also had a good visual indicator of who's doing better. Whereas like last year or any kind of game where you're scoring goals, you don't see that, but you can see a grid full of cones and cubes. You can see a
A
platform.
reef full of PVC pipes.
Yeah, a reef full. Of
That's a good point.
PVC.
That's a good point.
Right.
The barge with all the balls in it. Yeah.
One thing I kind of wish that would brought back, because I remember in 2015 everyone like had their own ramps that was like connected on like a rope or a tether or a string. I wish we would kind of see that something like that again. Where like this year, like if we didn't have that 1 foot, foot and a half, restriction, I kind of wish we have teams like, oh, you have a little ramp for the PVC pipe. Oh.
What do you think about the restrictions? Personally, my take is that they limit creativity a little too much.
I mean, to some degree, yes, but again, it has to be within the confines of.
You're trying to make the game fair.
Yeah, right, and so that way for teams of all levels can participate. And that no problem with that at all. I think all the teams deserve to have a fair foundation to be able to get into this program and to be able to have their own level of success of the game. But one thing that's crazy, there's no vertical.
Yeah, no height limit.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So theoretically, you could take your elevator to the freaking stratosphere and drop that ball like a into the barge.
Boom! You see a lot of tipped robots this year.
Not like that. I mean, in the game of just dropping into the net, into the barge. Okay, that was from AJ and Big Justice on their Costco TikTok page. All right, so let's.
Costco TikTok page. Yeah.
Well, I mean Costco. The Costco dudes.
I think it's gonna get really close. Yeah, with a lot of tipped robots, they might fall outside the field.
Yeah.
With how close the barge is to, because the barge spans the whole width of the field.
Right.
Right. So, and we're gonna be some robots if they're gonna try and score that. It's over 8 feet tall.
Do we know if there's gonna be 4 official scorers?
Yeah.
And then they'll each get like one half the reef. Okay.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So that you can see each side of it better. It's still gonna be a really tough job.
Well, yeah. There's a lot
There's
of elements.
a lot.
I
don't know how they're gonna do L1 because they gotta keep going up because there's no like spot to score for L1.
Like counter.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, official score is gonna be fun this year.
Yeah. So it's gonna be rewarding. But if you're an official scorer, keep your eyes on.
Can be working with us.
Hey, I love that role. And in 2019, I'd be like, put in, and then like as soon as it entered, boom. It's in.
Yeah.
I remember I did scorekeeping in 2023 and I was a rock star at it. I was going bang 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 and as soon as the match ends, boom, done. Right? There was an off season that I went that was an official scorer and I got so good at it. I literally took a chair, right? I propped my phone up on the panel and I started watching Kung Fu Panda and as the match happening, I got my little movie. I got my little chair. I'm eating a fat slider at the same time. And as soon as I see a game piece score, oh, that's a cube. Press. Oh, cone. Beep. And not one mistake. And I pride myself.
That's experience right there, boys.
Both off seasons.
That's experience.
Yeah, off seasons are great.
Yeah.
So highly recommend.
All right, boys. Well, what do you say?
I say. Thank you for watching. This has been another episode of the Pet Podcast. Be sure to follow us on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Click the subscribe button. Also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and
TikTok
Twitch.
while you still can.
Yeah, TikTok while you still can, right? So, but other than that, come here. Oh gosh. Oh. We'll see you in the next episode of Spinning Hammer. You're on my arm.